Hey, everybody, all my patrons and the people who waited a year, and even when they wait a year, they're disappointed. Cha! It's Fix My Car Cast. We're doing the Martha Stewart Living episode, which, full disclosure, I intended to record in a pretty nice kitchen, but I'm autistic, so none of my friends care about plans. Sorry, maybe that was a little harsh. Okay, cool. So I'm recording it in my car in ratty ass old top. I am between homes. I am moving from Columbus, Ohio, Maine to Akron, Ohio, Maine. And the irony of parodying a homemaker show while my old apartment and my new apartment are currently a fucking mess is not lost on me. Okay. Let's get ready. Let's get ready to do this thing. Let's go. Let's do this. Oh, hello. This is where the theme song goes. I couldn't think of a single Martha Stewartism. This is gonna go great. I didn't watch any episodes to prepare for this. If anything, I remember Conan O'Brien parodies of Martha Stewart and the Martha Stewart topless Christmas special from Saturday Night Live. We'll see how this one goes. Okay, the theme song should be done by now. You're listening to Fix My Car Cast, hosted by Bear Claw Billy, and this is episode 112. Comedian and musician Keith Hebert is cooking scrambled eggs in the espresso machine. But first, housekeeping. This is the show where you pick what I say and how I say it. Pick a topic or prompt by donating to the GoFundMe, and vote on the gimmick by joining my Patreon for just $1 a month. Join at the $5 or higher level and also get bonus episodes and behind-the-scenes footage. Links are in the description. Also down there, merch. Get yourself some merch. You want the homiest merch? We've got it. It'll turn any house into a home. No new donors this week. The total raised for paying off my car repair debt is still holding at $2,021. Also, when we get to $3,000, I will record an episode at sea. Fun fact, did you know that this whole podcast disappears when we hit $10,000? Leave it in the past, like an open floor plan. Ooh. Hey, do you like the theme song? No? Well, if you make a donation of $50 or more, in addition to picking an episode topic, you get to change one thing about the theme song forever. Unless somebody else changes it back. Want me to add some gentle, inviting notes of guitar? I'll do it. $50. No new patrons this week. Bummer. Now it's time for a topic suggestion. I'll suggest topics I think I could easily talk about for a whole episode, though admittedly I think the show is more fun when it's something I'm completely clueless about. So, something I could talk about is Madam Web. In a first for this podcast, I'm going to tell you what this week's bonus episode is about. It's Madam Web, which I just saw, and it is sweet, sweet garbage. True trash in every sense of the word. I'll review it on the bonus episode, but it's so nuts, and there's so much more to say, that I also want to talk about it on a regular episode. Here's my offer. For every donation of $50 or more that I receive between now and March 1st, 2024, I will go see Madam Web again. By the way, you don't have to make the topic request about Madam Web. I'll go watch it and then talk about spoon collecting for no goddamn reason other than I'm your good little podcast sub. Anyway, Madam Web, want to know more? Donate today. It's, If you were waiting to see if it's fun bad, it's fun bad. Go see it. Checking in on the best city in the world based on which city listened to the last episode the most, and we've got us another singles night tie. Ties are broken by whichever city listened to the most episodes, and our big winner is Portland, Maine. Congratulations, Portland, Maine. Let it be known that your Jersey Axe House, Father Glotzbach Park, and Knock on Woody's Irish Pub are the best in the world for 7 days. Last episode, I talked about Carl Fornow while recording it at a rave. Sorry about the audio quality. You can see video of the entire episode, including extra footage of me tearing up the dance floor, over on Patreon. Also, head over to Patreon for a bonus episode where I talk about hypnosis. The audio actually didn't come out that bad at the rave, but I couldn't shout for much longer, so sorry that episode's a little short. Okay, let's talk next week's gimmick poll. These are your choices for next week's episode gimmick. They are: do it like a medical drama, record it in extreme close-up, incorporate 25 Star Trek episode titles, and our returning gimmick, attempt a Sudoku puzzle. Let's recap. That's number 1, do it like a medical drama. Number 2, record it in extreme close-up. Number 3, incorporate 25 Star Trek episode titles. And our returning gimmick number 4, attempt a Sudoku puzzle, which keeps coming back but never wins. It might be time for the Sudoku puzzle to take the cake here. Remember that any gimmick that gets just a single vote is eligible for a second chance in 6 weeks. Be sure to vote over on Patreon. The poll closes February 29th, don't get to say that often, at noon Eastern America time. All right, time for today's gimmick, which is do it like a Martha Stewart living episode. Of course, gimmicks don't start until housekeeping is out of the way in case any of them prevent me from sharing vital information. But now, we are entering the gimmick zone. From this point on, gimmicks are active and everything is improvised. There's no sponsored topic for today's episode, so I'll take inspiration from a randomized Wikipedia page, which is, and by the way, these are the actual printed off topics that I did take to the rave, and now it's time to see what the topic is. Whoops, it's Carl Fornow again. Well, when we make a mistake, we can own up to it. What really matters is that the rest of the family doesn't see it. Now let's go digging back in that wallet and find the topic for today. Let's see what we've got. Well, today's topic is a stub, and I feel like I should move on. It's the surname Crooks, which does give us a lot to talk about. There are many people with the last name Crooks, none of whom mean anything to me, so maybe let's dip again and see if we get something less stubby. And if this one's a stub, well, friends, then we're stuck. But you know, there's nothing a little improvising can't do to bring everything together to make an enjoyable experience for everyone. Here we go. I'll take this one. Today's topic is Radio Burgajic. I apologize so much for my pronunciation. It's so important not to offend company and make everything an enjoyable experience for them. I'm Martha Frakes, and you're watching Martha Frakes Existing, and I'm going to share with you some of my favorite things, one of which is a Dutch satirical radio program of which Pierre van Ursel and Toon Sporenberg are the anchormen. They're played by the comedians George Van Hoots and Peter Bouwman, respectively. The first episode was broadcast on April 3rd, 2001. From then, a new episode could be heard every weekday. In January 2004, there were dramatic changes in the Dutch radio programming, and Radio Burgajic was forced to broadcast just every Saturday from 1330 to 1400 on Radio 1. Well, there's more to speak of on this topic, but for now, I'd like to welcome you in to my comfortable little abode. And today, we're going to do a craft project in honor of Radio Burgajic. Geijk. Now what I would do is I would get some crafting foam and cut out each letter, and we'll spell out Radio Burgajic on a radio. That's right. I would honor the roots of the show and put them on the back of a radio. Now, there's all kinds of different glues you can use, but I'm going to use my hot glue gun. That's, of course, the best thing for crafting. Now, if you're like me, Martha Frakes, I think that's the name I made up, then you know that gun can get very hot, so you're going to want to avoid touching the tip. Now, what I like to do is I like to get glitter glue. Even though you can't see it because it's underneath the craft foam letters, it still just brings an element of magic. It's really going to make that craft pop. So, we want to make this craft really embody the spirit of the topic. And of course, Radio Bergijik handles controversial subjects arising in Dutch society. Now, if we want to put a little Dutch flair on this project, we're going to take that radio and we're going to put it in a clog, which as far as I know is Dutch, but if I'm wrong, perhaps one of our Dutch listeners could tell me. I think the majority of our European listeners are in Germany or the UK, so if you can tell me the origins of a wooden shoe, get in the comments and tell me all about the origins of the Dutch wooden shoe. The clog, right? Yes. So, we're going to want to get an authentic clog. You can look on Etsy, but I recommend you make your own. That's right. We're going to go into the woods today, and we're going to cut down our own tree. Let me just give it a few good whacks. Hoo, oh, hoo, oh, very well. We've done a very good job cutting down that tree. And now, let's haul it back in the house. Ooh, yeah, ooh, ha. All right, moving a tree can be very difficult. You would do well to get a friend to help you, but also you don't want any witnesses. Sorry, that has nothing to do with the show that I'm talking on right now. Let's get back to our clog. So we're gonna fashion our clog. Now, first, you're going to want your chisel. I recommend your pinking chisel, and you just want to give that wood a whack. Now, we have brought an entire log, and we're turning it from log to clog. That's what we're doing here on Martha Frakes Existing. And whenever your craft has a fun little rhyming slogan, that really makes it pop. You'll notice that our goal is mainly to make things pop. So we're going from log to clog. And we're carving this thing down in a way that uses minimal sound effects because I have a lot of plans this weekend. Oh, look at that. So now we've fashioned our beautiful clog, and we're going to place the radio into it, and we're going to write Radio Bergijik on the back. And maybe we'll do like a nice glitter spray just to like really say it with me. Pop! We really want it to pop. Just, it needs to pop. It is so important that everything pop. We want everything to stick out, and we want everything to be, this is what you call a conversation piece. People will ask, why is there a radio in a shoe? And you'll tell them, oh, well, that's Radio Bergijik, which discusses popular subjects like Dutch national immigration policy, healthcare, the elderly, the society, which seems to get less and less tolerant, and World War II. So there's all kinds of things that we could add to our conversation piece to really make it embody Dutch society's problems. Whoever wrote this definitely is not writing in a neutral voice and is probably written by someone who's a really big fan. And it's important to be passionate. In fact, I would say that's a thing of great joy. Okay, so Radio Bergijik has elements of black humor, and so I think we want to make our clog black to represent the black humor of this Dutch radio program. So we're just going to get out, let's see. Now, I could go midnight black, slate black, onyx black, Batman black, Alaskan midnight black. I think I'm gonna go with Soul of a Republican black. Yes. So we're gonna take this, and then we're just gonna paint. I need to be very close to not sound like a famous painter right now. We're gonna dab it on. Now we're gonna use a paint sponge. I like to use a sponge because sometimes bristles, they can go rogue a little bit and leave you with these unsightly streaks. So we're just gonna use our paint sponge, and we're just gonna make a nice black clog. Now, it's worth noting that Radio Bergijik has extremely unfair behavior of the anchorman, foul language, and violence. I was thinking this was sort of a Dutch Colbert Report, but I'm now concerned that it's a Dutch Alex Jones. Perhaps I need to read a little more. Oh gosh. I suppose I don't get to judge, as I have a show where I have sex with Dracula. So, I guess Bear Claw Billy does. Mabel Frakes, I have not. I don't. I live a very gentle and cozy life. So I don't, for example, have a show where a group of women violently rob every man in the city. The anchormen die and go to heaven? Again, I'm not one to judge when a show does a lot of wacky gimmicks. I'm probably the last person to judge. But it seems like this show is very intense and includes characters that are divorced, old-fashioned, middle-aged men who live on disability insurance benefit and voluntarily work as radio producers. Well, that sounds like a real hoot. And divorce is something that can really take a home apart, but that's no reason that you can't make 2 Christmases as festive as possible. What's more festive than 1 Christmas? 2 Christmases. So I send this out to all the poor divorced children out there. Even you can make a home. All right, so we want to honor that the characters die and go to heaven, so we're just going to take some cotton balls, and we're going to put a nice little decoupage, if I'm using that word correctly, around the clog. So it's like this black clog is floating up to heaven with a radio in it in honor of Radio Bergijik. I'm trying to think of how we can make it more divorced, and the only thing I can think of is a jet ski. So we're going to put the whole thing on a jet ski. Here we go. So you've got your jet ski, you've got your black clog, and you've got those beautiful craft foam letters for Radio Bergijik. And it is a little hard to talk and read, but yes, it seems like these men are a satire of the kind of media personality that you might see in Dutch society. I don't know what it's like to parody a popular media figure. The only thing I know is making a lovely home. I love to decorate. I love to cook. I don't have my own farm, but I would like to at some point. Of course, I am very, very wealthy, and that is because I'm really big in the stock market. Rips, not dips. And so I'm richer than you, and it's why all this stuff is so easy for me. If you're poor, my recommendation to you, stop being poor, and then you can afford more craft foam. Isn't that a thing of great joy? I think so. Well, when you play Wiki Roulette, you only get the first page, so I don't know what happens from here, but I did see the words threatens to commit suicide. Okay, what an intense show. As far as I know, Radio Bergijik is still on the air, so we've got to celebrate that. Anyone who can really go the distance and commit to something week after week, or on this every weekday, that's very impressive. Good job, Peer Van Ursel and Toon Sporenberg, which are in italics for reasons I don't know. I'm going to read the final sentence, which is incomplete, about Ted Van Lieshout is the technician who takes care of the broadcasting and the equipment. Although he can never be heard on the program, he plays an important role. And that's the end of that. So, folks, the mysterious Ted Van Lieshout, let's honor let's honor his contributions to the show, and we're just going to add a mixing board in there, but not just any mixing board. We're going to make a paper mache mixing board. So you're going to want to get your flour and your water and whatever newspaper you have handy. I always like to have a copy of today's newspaper in case I ever need to make a video, because I am very involved in many different ways of making money, don't you know? Okay, so a mixing board, what does that look like? Well, we're going to take an old cereal box. You can use any cereal box. I recommend not generic and preferably designer cereal. If you have platinum cereal, you're ready to make this mixing board. So you're just going to take your box and you're going to use your pinking shears and you're going to cut the box into a box shape. That's right. For my money, sometimes a cereal box isn't box-like enough, so you need to cut it into a proper box shape. So we're going to do that. So here we go. We're going to trim it down. You'll notice that most of the things that I'm using are silent because, again, I have a very busy weekend. I am a homemaker, but also I need to talk to some folks on the internet and see if I can convince them to come to my lovely, beautiful home. So we're just going to snip, snip, snip. Oh, that's looking so nice. All right. So now we're going to take our paper mache strips and we're just going to place them over that. And then what are we going to use for the sliders on the mixing board? Well, I'm thinking popsicle sticks. That's right. Now, I've never eaten a popsicle. That's a poor food. But I am able to get craft sticks, which are popsicle sticks that have never been inside a popsicle. So we're going to take our craft sticks, we're going to cut them up. Remember to use your pinking shears, and we're going to put those, and those are going to be our little sliders on our mixing board. So there you go. So now we've got our jet ski, we've got our cotton ball clouds, and they're supporting our black clog, which has a radio in it that says Radio Bergajik, and then we're just going to put the mixing board tastefully next to it, and that's really gonna pop. It's important that it pops. You want it to pop like when you pop the head off an animal. So we've got this now. So this is our centerpiece. So we're going to put this in the center of the room, and we are honoring radio. So we are going to make a radio tower out of paper clips. Now, I recommend butterfly. A lot of people go with the standard clippy shape, but butterfly, I find they're just a little bigger and they're just a little sturdier. So you're going to want to get ones without any coating on them. You don't want any resin, and we're just going to straighten that out. And now we're building a radio tower. If it looks like the RKO logo, you're doing it right. If it looks like the RKO logo at the end of the Rocky Horror Picture Show, you're doing it wrong. So let's just get this going here. All right, so now we have a lovely tower, and then around the base of the tower, we're just going to put a little baby's breath. It's going to really give it a pop. It's going to pop. There's going to be a pop of color. It's just popping out at you. Everything is popping. We've really got this thing popping. I'm popping. I'm locking. I'm putting down the excess cardboard so that I can pop and lock on it. So here I go now. I'm quite a talented dancer. Watch me go. This is a scissor kick, and now I'm doing the worm. All right. Well, I think the hosts of Radio Bergajik, I am so sorry, but again, that is spelled Bergijk. That's a hard one to pronounce, but we always want to be respectful of other cultures, even when we don't have access to the internet right now. Actually, I think my iPad may be in range of Wi-Fi right now, but I'm not going to look that up because I'm a very busy woman and I have a lot to do, and I need to hurry this up so I can go to the store and buy some storage containers and a plastic smock, because you don't want to get any paint on you. Okay, so we've got this shrine, we've got this beautiful tower, we've got everything all assembled, and now the next thing you need to do is invite people over. So we're going to go on the dark web, and we're going to see if we can find the personal email accounts of Pierre von Ursel and Toon Sporenberg. I'm just going to go to some websites that I frequent. These are invite only. You have to be very rich and very powerful to be invited to them. But once you are, you get to play some very fun but slightly dangerous games with your friends that you meet there. Okay, so we've got their email addresses. I'm not going to read them on the show, but I am going to save them for later because there's a lot you can do with an email address, folks. Okay, so we've got their email addresses, and now we're going to invite them over. Now, people like to show up fashionably late to parties because they're insane assholes. So we're going to tell them that the party starts at 5, but they can show up at 10. And then when they show up, that's when we unveil it. That's right. So the last thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to put a big sheet over the centerpiece because you don't want them to see what's under there, but you do want them to know there's a surprise. It's like sort of a vague, being vague is one of my favorite things. Why, it's a thing of great joy. It's a Mr. Fantastic of orgasmic ecstasy when you surprise your friends. So your guests are going to come over and they're going to see this sheet and they're going to wonder what's under it. And that's when you just whip it right off. Oh no, I've broken the whole thing. Oh, well, I guess it's time for me to walk into the ocean. As always, make scrambled eggs in an espresso machine. Look it up. That's a real thing. Okay, I'm so glad I get to tell you about this. By the way, I've been putting the mic further and further and further away from my face because I'm so fucking loud, but I totally forgot that, this is the Martha Stewart episode, so I'm going to be quiet as shit. I hope that wasn't too quiet to hear because I had the mic way far away. And yeah, anyway, we'll check out how that sounds later. I'm freezing my ass off. It is February in Maine. So I'm going to go in the friggin' house. That was fun though. That was really fun. I hadn't quite figured out the character. Whenever I do my own take on a character, I'm like, all right, I've got to put a spin on it that's takes it away from the original thing, and I didn't know what the spin was there, and I just kept thinking of all the nastiest secret shit that this character could be doing. Mabel Frakes, I think I changed her name multiple times. I'll have to check later. I'm so glad you could join me today. All right, cool. That shit's done. Time to tell you all about Madam Web. Because holy shit, I cannot wait to talk about Madam Web while it's fresh in my mind. What a stinker. Hope you had fun with me here today. I hope that was a fun one. Be awesome.